With Blind Entertainment, doing this another live stream. We had to cut the other one short just because I got something came up. But I'm back, so stop on by if you want to chat. We can have some fun talking all things entertainment, from The Walking Dead to The 100 to comics, literally anything you want to talk about. We can talk about it, have some fun, and overall just hang out. So come on by and let's chat. Because I'm looking to have some fun tonight. I want to talk with y'all. So if you want to talk, come on by. But if you don't want to, that's fine by me. But looking to chat, have some fun tonight. So if you want to come on by and chat, that's fine by me. But I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment. So if you want to stop by and chat, we can talk, we can have some fun, we can do all kinds of entertainment stuff that you want to talk about. From movies to anything, pretty much. We'll chat, have some fun, and just, talk about entertainment. Maybe movies and TV shows, probably nothing other than that. Because I don't really pay attention to other kinds of entertainment like that. But definitely, if you want to chat, come on and we'll talk any kinds of entertainment. I'm open to anything pretty much. Again, I'm Vision if you don't know who I am. If you're catching this after the fact, if this goes up, I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment. We can just have fun at this live stream. But if not, that's alright. That's fine by me. That is alright. But if you do want to chat, come on by and we can talk. Again, I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment. If you all want to chat, I'm here. I'm ready to chat about anything you want to talk about. So stop on by if you want to talk anything entertainment. You can talk about literally anything entertainment. So stop on by and we can talk. Again, if you're just dropping in, which I don't know if anybody is, I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment. And let's talk all things entertainment. That's what this live stream's all about tonight. Talking all things regarding entertainment. So, if you stop on by, we can have a good chat about something. Movies, TV shows, anything you want to really talk about. I'm here for it. We can chat. We can have some fun. David, good to see you back. What up again? I did not check out Letter 44. That's like on my list of books I'm gonna get to sometime. I'm trying to get caught up on all the comics I have. Sadly, I have books going all the way back pretty much to April of this year that I'm still behind on. So I'm trying to get through those books before I start anything different. Kind of sad seeing as we're going into November and I'm still haven't read books that came out in April. Just been busy, you know, just been busy. That's how life goes sometimes. You just get busy. But, that happens sometimes. Apologize for the long wait. Yeah, you get it too. Yeah, it's hard. I was looking at the image solicitations and I was putting again. I was kind of sort of making my solicitation video for January, and I was thinking. Right, originally I was thinking, oh, there's not that many books coming out. Then I look at it again, I'm like, oh shit, there's so many books. I'm like, my wallet's gonna be screaming by the end of the year. I try. Sadly, I almost buy every image book, and that's just image alone. Yeah, that's not even going into Aftershock. Dark Horse, Boom Studios, all the other ones. IDW, I buy a few of them. You know, I did not hear. Are you talking about the DC movie reboot? Because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at that. But if it's a comic reboot, I honestly don't know. I don't follow Marvel and DC comics. I'm more indie. So if it's comic in regards to comics and DC, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But if it's movies, not surprised, but still didn't hear any of the news. But honestly, again, not surprised that they're gonna. If it's the movies, I'm not surprised. Oh, the comics, okay. No, I don't follow movies or Marvel or DC comics, so I wouldn't know that information. I know there's a lot of fans out there that do follow those comics, but I don't know. I'm just indie. I never gone into the Marvel and DC stuff. One of one of my issues with the Marvel and DC stuff, and this is probably just a personal issue, is that and this might not be for every Marvel and DC comic, but one of the issues I have had with them is that they put their ads in between panels, which I hate. Like you're in the middle of reading a book and you get to an action moment and then oop, there's an ad. And you gotta go to the so I feel like it interrupts the flow of the comics. Whereas if you look at like an image book, they all have other ads at the end of the book, so it doesn't interrupt the flow of the book or how you read the book. You can just read the book, boom, the ads are at the end. You don't have to, stop in the middle of the comic, read the ads, and then get back into it. So that's kind of why I don't read Marvel or DC. I mean, sure, would I like to, but I don't know. I already got enough comics I'm reading, so maybe one day if I get the chance, I'll pick up a Marvel or DC comic. I have, on occasion, picked up the preludes in regards to like the Marvel comics, like they did like the Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and all those like Infinity War and Endgame, like prelude panels or issues. So I picked those up when they came out, but other than that, didn't really do much else. Yeah, you agree about the ads, David? Yeah, um, yeah. To me, the ads. I feel like Marvel and DC should take a hint from the indie books and switch things up. I mean, if not for anything, just as like a test run, because I feel like if they did that, maybe they'd sell more. I mean, I don't know the sale amount of sales that those books get, but I feel like the indie books are kind of picking up steam. At least Images. I feel like Image Comics is definitely picking up speed. A lot of their books are being turned into movies and TV shows, and I feel like Image is probably one of the third biggest comic publishers out there behind AMC or behind Marvel and DC. Could have more story. Yes, with no ads. Yes, they could definitely add more story. That's possible, but at the same time, I feel like even if they put the ads at the end, you'd probably still end up with the same story. I feel like comics, at least the image ones, follow that format of like 32 pages or something like that. I don't know exactly. 22 pages, I think, actually. 32, I think, add in if you count the ads. So I think they, first off, they probably need the ads. It's probably similar to how like TV shows work. Like, how they have those commercial breaks. I think ads work in a similar way, somewhat. Like, where, like, if they don't have the ads, it's kind of like a money thing. That's the way I look at it. They need money, so they kind of have to put these ads in. Yes, Image is killing it. If I had to rank like all the comic publishers out there, I'd put Marvel and DC on top because everybody knows them. They're big and they've been around forever. After that, I probably put in Image as like being the second place or third place, however you want to put it. And then after Image, I'd probably put Boom Studios. I think Boom Studios is another big one that's coming up. They've been putting out some great stuff. You got Power Rangers, which even though I'm like in my 20s, people still yell at me and think I'm too old to be into Power Rangers. You got those stories, and they got a bunch of our good stuff, Bone Parish, and some other great titles. Then underneath them, I'd probably put Dark Horse and IDW. I feel like Dark Horse and IDW are kind of on the lower ends of books. They they have good titles and good issues of stuff. However, I feel like they're just kind of there. They don't like. There's nothing special about an IDW or like a Dark Horse book. I think Dark Horse, if I had to pick, I think I'd put Dark Horse above IDW. Just because I feel like Dark Horse, there's a few of them that actually do have some good stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like they're both kind of the same. Yeah, Bone Parish. Yeah, I actually, did I finish that book or not? I don't remember. I think I finished that a while back. I think I was able to finish that. Yeah, that was great. I think they should turn that into a TV series or movie. I think that'd be a cool book that they could do something with. Um, but yeah, that was a good book. Then you got other publishers like Scout Comics, what is it, Bolt Comics, and Source Point Press. I think is another one. They're kind of like on the outer edges, in my opinion. Like they're kind of the lesser known like publishers. I would probably put Scout Comics in somewhere with like Dark Horse and IDW because they're somewhat getting more steam with some of their books. However, I think Vault Comics and Source Point Press are kind of like the unknown publishers that no one pays attention to, which kind of stinks because I think some of them have good books. Like I think what was it? Is it The Dark Age? Is that the new one from Source Point Press? I think so, because they got some good stuff. Yeah, Scout Comics and Vault Comics are good. I actually haven't read any Vault Comics. My issue is that my comic shop pretty much does everything Marvel and DC and does like, and all the indie books kind of play second fiddle to that. So I never get into the like, so they don't order that many other stuff. Like Image is their big thing. They have a couple like Aftershock books here and there, Boom Studios here and there. Very rarely will you find like a Scout book. They have IDW and Dark Horse, but they don't get like Vault Comics anymore, or at least that I've seen. And my issue is, unless I know about it like months ahead of time, I don't know the book is out until like the day before. Like, if if you're looking for like people that tell you like what books to buy in this coming week, I recommend checking out Pop Culture Philosophers and Joe Ryan Comics. I really like those guys. They they go over like all the big comics of the week and just tell you what to look out for. So if you want to know like ahead of time, like these are the books of the week you should check out. Definitely check out their channels because they do some great stuff. I like them both. I probably would pick Joe Ryan over Pop Culture Philosophers. The only reason I do that is because Pop Culture Philosophers, for me, they show off like a lot of books because their video goes on for almost 40 minutes every week. But the only reason I don't like them is because, at least for me, I live on the east coast of the United States, and they always come out like at 1 o'clock in the morning where I live. So it always sucks because I never get to watch it ahead of time. So that always frustrates me. I've been meaning to like leave a comment asking if it was any way possible for them to put out the video earlier, because it always frustrates me. Yeah, that's a thanks, David. Yeah, I'm glad I could help out. I used to watch. Who's the other one that used to do that? Jim. I think it's Jim Comics did it. I watched him for a bit, but kind of lost interest in his channel. He did a lot of those kind of videos and what's in my pull box videos. He was all right, but I kind of got bored of his channel after a while. But I highly recommend Pop Culture Philosophers and Joe Ryan Comics. If you're into watching like what's in my pull box videos, I also recommend checking out Grab Those Keys. Really cool guy. Love him. He's very interactive in the comment section. He does a poll list just about or a video about his what he picks up just about every week. Although I shouldn't say that because he's kind of been on a bit of a hiatus in over like the past few weeks to a month. He put out one video like I think 2 weeks ago, but he's a really cool dude. He's got his go check him out on Instagram. He does a lot of good stuff interacting with his followers there. But yeah, he's another really cool dude. I love that. I love him. He's like one of my favorite comic YouTubers in regards to that stuff. So really like him. Definitely go support him. I think he's really cool. There's not too many other comic channels that I pay too much attention to that just specifically do comics. I watched Catherine Figures for a while. She was a really fun channel that I liked. For some reason, she kind of stopped. Like a almost probably I'd probably have to say like maybe like half like maybe 5 6 years ago. I really loved her channel. I don't know what happened with her, but she no longer does comic videos. I think she will do like a review video every like once in a while, but she kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Ever watch Comic Book Universe? No, I never heard of Comic Book University. No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out after this live stream if I have time. But no, I never heard of them. We'll have to definitely check them out after the fact. But yeah, those grab those keys. Joe Ryan Comics and Pop Culture Philosophers are three channels. If you're a big comic fan, definitely recommend checking them out. Originally, I wasn't a big fan of Grab Those Keys, but eventually, over time, he slowly became one of my favorite ones. I mean, I had nothing against the guy, but at first I just kind of, and I feel like a lot of people could say this about me. His voice came off a little odd. I feel like he was nervous in the beginning, but I stuck with his channel. Like within a month or two, he got his feet go. He got his groove going, and he did. He has fantastic videos. Very good charisma. Keeps you engaged. Always in the comment section talking to you. So definitely recommend him. Um, what about Frog Queen? Again, never heard of them. So I'll have to put down Frog Queen and Comic Book University. We'll definitely have to check them out. Because I always look for these new comic people. Certain ones I like, certain ones I mix, and other ones just don't pay attention to. But, some are good, some are bad. Like I find one of the things that I don't like, and this is certain channels. But when you just got like a dude standing who is at the camera and just holding up each issue, I don't really like those kind of comic videos. Whereas, if they have like a setup where they pull out a comic, place it on the like against like a background or something, and then talk about it, I like those videos because that you get to look at the comics and you get to see the cover and everything. Look at it, see if it's you're interested in the cover, and if you are that's I think what I like. I don't because I feel like when you got the people just looking in the camera holding it up, you kind of just got this glare. You can't really see it. I think it's not like good quality. That's just my opinion. But I like those guys. They're fun guys. Again, Karen Figures is a good one. I hope she returns because she has some really good stuff. I don't know what happened. I know she got like engaged like a month or so back, so maybe that's has something to do with it. But I really did enjoy her channel. It's sad that she isn't doing anything anymore because she was like one of my top three favorite comic channels. So sad to see that go. David, I'm sorry to ask this late in the stream, but if it's any way possible, could you like share this video or something, just so maybe we can get some more people in here. Not that it's I'm not loving and having fun just talking to you, but still, I'd like to see if we get any other people in. So if you could do that, that'd be a great help. Um, But yeah, comics. I think comics is a very interesting topic because I feel like comics kind of died out like in the late nine in the in the late like 90s and or in the 90s and 80s they kind of died out. Early 2000s they kind of didn't exist, and now I think recently they've kind of blown up again. And within the past decade, I think they've become big again. I mean, Marvel and DC have always been out there, doing their thing with all their big characters. But I feel like in regards to everything else, I think they kind of went numb for a bit. I'll try. Yeah, a lot of people don't read comics. You know, I had a really great comic store. It was like I was probably 20 minutes away from me. I loved it, and it ended up closing down due to the fact that people are reading their comics online, which sucked. Now I gotta travel 30 minutes to my other comic store, which, if I'm being honest, I don't really like them. I don't know. I would go on like buy all my comics online, but I like going to the shop. I like going there. It's just like you don't see too many people do that anymore, and I like supporting your local comic book shop. But this one, the one I go to now, just I don't know. They're just not warm and inviting. Like when I went to my old shop, I'd walk in, they'd say, "Hey, how you doing?" Yell across the store, "Hey, I'll get your stuff ready for you." Now when I walk into my new shop, they're just like, I walk in, they don't even like say a word to me. Just put out my stuff on the counter, and I pick it up and like go look around for a bit, and I'm like, you know, it's just not like warm and inviting. Like I feel like when you go into a comic book shop, you need to have that warm and invited kind of area. You need to have like, hey, like people interacting with you, talking, and it just doesn't feel like that way. Now I do. I'm kind of like in reality, I'm like a kind of quiet, shy person, so maybe that's a reason why. But like still, they should be interacting with you, like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Stuff like that. But these guys, I don't know. They just don't. I just don't like them. We close down and another close by and okay. Yeah, that's very interesting, David. Yeah, I live in an area where comic book shops are like pain in the ass to get to. Honestly, it kind of frustrating because like the two closest ones to me from one area are the closest one to me right now is like a half hour, 40 minutes away, which is frustrating to get to every week. And that's just going in one direction. Then you got to go in another direction, and it's the same thing. So it's like a lose lose situation. You can't. So it gets frustrating. Like eventually, I just go to the one that's closest to me. But I don't like them. Plus, I don't know. They're kind of just a little background on me. I'm Hispanic, and I kind of find where I go, they're a bit racist, kind of. So that's another reason why I kind of don't like them because they just come off as like racist people. And maybe I'm just like judging them without knowing them really. But like I don't know, they just aren't warm and inviting. Like other people show up and they'll say hi to them. I show up and it's like, yeah, he's here, and it gets frustrating because I spend like all I've been there with them for probably like maybe what 2 3 years now, and like I'm a loyal customer. I spend my money there, yet they can't they just started stand there, hand me my things, don't like barely say 2 words. It's like really. I spend my money there. I've been a supporter of your shop for like almost 4 years now, and the least you could do is kind of, be warm and inviting. Like I think is that too much to ask? Let me know in the comments. Let me know, David. Is that too much to ask that they should be warm and inviting, or am I just kind of, asking for too much here? Let me know, David, because I want to know. But yeah, that's my little rant about comic shops. Don't get me wrong. I love my comic shop. They got some great stuff, but they kind of frustrating. They don't get a lot of indie books, they, and and it's just I don't know. They just kind of frustrate me. Again, if it was possible, I would go online. But right now, I budget my books. Right now, I have to budget my books. So like each week, I'll go in there. I'm like weeks behind on my books anyway. So like I gotta budget my books. So like if I did like online pull lists, I wouldn't be able to do it. It just wouldn't be feasible. Um, it's not too much to ask. Thank you. Yeah. Again, going back to it, I don't think it's too much to ask for either. I mean, if you're going to your comic book shop, you're a loyal customer. Like, you should be. You the most you could do, the owner, is be warm and inviting. I mean, I mean, this guy that I'm talking about, he used to be warm and inviting. Like, I'd go up, put my books on the counter, and we'd chit chat about like a book that I'm picking up. Now, that doesn't really happen. He just stands there like some dude and just at the counter. At least the other dude that's there, and he comes off a bit of a racist, sort of. At least he'll say, "Hey, I'll grab your books in a minute." At least he says that. I give him points for that. But this other dude just is like, you think he can't speak. So it just gets frustrating. And then there was a third guy that worked there, and he was probably one of the best people that worked there. He'd always, "Hey, how you doing?" Like even as I was walking around the shop, he'd yell over, "What are you looking for? Are you looking for anything in particular?" Like he was one of the most warm and inviting people there. I don't know what happened to him. I did read on like their online post that someone retired. That might have been him, which sucks because I liked him the best out of the people that worked there. I liked him the best, and now he's not there apparently. So there's that. But what are you gonna do? Again, beggars can't be choosers, in my opinion. And right now, I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta go to this comic shop. So gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, I feel like comic stuff is very interesting at times. You got certain things that work in comics, certain things that don't. What do you got, David? Help the shop in a. you know, yeah, I could. Yeah, that's possible. I always joke saying, because where I live, there are like zero comic book shops. Like I said, there are literally zero shops. Like I said, going in both directions, it's like a 40-minute drive either way. And I usually, when I go out, like, shopping, like, usually I don't even get to my shop, like, Comic Book Wednesday, just because I got school Monday and Wednesday. I got my internship Tuesday and Thursday, and then Friday. Sometimes I get to it on Fridays, and then, but other times I'm like, it's Friday. I'll just wait to go tomorrow or whatever. So a lot of times I go to my comic book shop, like while I go, grocery shopping on the weekend or just running out to grab a few things, and I'll go and when I go out to do that stuff, I go in one direction. So I usually pick the shop in that direction. So that's where I go. So beggars can't be choosers. But what I was getting at is I always joke with my family and stuff, and like you know, there's this lot that like this. I think it's like a Dunkin' Donuts or something that just went out of business, and I always joke with my parents or my family and everybody saying, you know what, I'm gonna buy that area, buy that shop and turn it into a comic store because there's none around us. There is absolutely none around us. So I always joke about that. Honestly, realistically, I could probably never do that. I'd probably be, broke and be unable to do anything with that because one, I don't really know anybody that would want to buy comics. I know my best bud, he loves comics, but like that's one dude. So one dude isn't gonna help keep your comic book shop afloat. But yeah, that's if I could, I would probably open up my own comic shop. That'd be fun. But realistically, it's never gonna happen. But I still remember the first time I went to my comic shop. This is a different comic shop actually. I remember the first time I ever went to a comic shop. It was right, and I went there because I wanted to get. I finally was like, okay, The Walking Dead's interesting. We're going into the Negan arc. I want to check out what's going on there. Um, So what'd you? Oh, okay, nothing. So what was I getting at? So I was like, okay, The Walking Dead. It's getting hot. We got the Negan cliffhanger. Let's go check it out. So I looked up a close comic shop to me. It was probably now this is back what 3 years ago, right when The Walking Dead 3 4 years ago, maybe. So I go to this comic book shop, and I swear to you right now, it was the most creepiest place I've ever been to. If you ever watch Criminal Minds, it it looks like that place where they'd find a dead body in the beginning of the movie, in the beginning of the show. It was legitimately creepy AF. Like, again, it looked like we're on a procedural show regarding with cops. They'd find a murdered body, like no joke. Either that, or it looked like they'd film The Walking Dead. Like it was creepy. And I went there at night, and I went there with my dad, and I'm like, we park, and this place is like a shed. Like it's like legit. It was like legit a shed. Like I'm not kidding you. It was a shed. So we get there. Again, this is like October, like around this time of the year, 3 years ago, and you know how it gets dark earlier. So we get there like 5 6 o'clock, and it's dark. We're at this place where, like I just said, it looks where you'd find a body on a crime show, or where they'd film The Walking Dead, and it's dark out. And I went there with my dad. And I look at my dad. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going in there alone, cause like I was creeped out. Like legit, I was creeped out. So I go in there, picked up a few Walking Dead books and the number first compendium, and left. I'm like, I gotta find another shop because like this place is creepy AF. I went back to I think like 2 or 3 times after the fact. Then I found this other shop that eventually closed down later on. That's my luck. The shop that I'm telling you about actually recently just actually closed down like a year ago. Which is kind of comical in itself. Like I feel like I have bad luck with my comic book shops that I go to. Like the one I just told you about ended up closing. The one I went to after that ended up closing. Right now I'm at my third one. I'm like I'm waiting. Like this one's gonna close down. I'm just like I feel like I'm the curse to comic book shops. But I find that funny. I don't know about you guys, but I find that funny. But yeah, that's my story about how I got into comics. But yeah, I'll never forget that. Like that's a memory I probably will never forget. Like go get into comics. That's probably a memory that like people would never forget because that is just like I feel like you couldn't make up that story. No one would probably believe me. What do you got, David? My first time was when I was over 10 years ago, going to a shop, 16 or 17, after after reading World World War Two, the Hulk issue. A friend gave me. So that's how you got into him. That's very interesting. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I always find it interesting to hear how people got into comics. That's always an interesting conversation. I wish we had more people here that way we could hear different stories because that'd be something I'd be interested in hearing because that always interests me. Like even other things, like how people got into other things. Like take The Walking Dead for example. Like I didn't watch that from season one. Like I remember I was in my senior year of high school and everyone was talking about this hot show, The Walking Dead, and I'm like for personally I'm not like into the horror genre. Like I don't watch scary movies. I don't do any of that stuff. But I was like, okay, everybody's talking about this. All my friends are talking about it. All my teachers are talking about it. Like literally in class, teachers would start class and talk about The Walking Dead. Like that's how big it was where I am. So I was like, okay, if this is a big show, I'm gonna look it up. There's not a lot of shows I'm watching right now. We're going on winter break. All the shows are going off for a bit. Let me check this show out. So I find, the first season on Netflix, start watching it. Okay, I like the first season, continue going on. I binged it and probably finished it within like a month or so. And the only reason I was able to finish it in a month or so was due to the fact that back when I started it, it was only in season 4, so they had all the first 3 seasons on Netflix. I was able to binge it quick there, and then I was able to get like the first 8 episodes of the first half off of on reruns or on demand. I forget which one it was. It was either reruns or on demand. So that's how I got into The Walking Dead. Um, but yeah, everyone was talking about it in my school, and I was like probably one of the few people that wasn't watching it. I mean, there are a few people here and there that didn't care much for it and weren't talking about it. But for the majority of the people I knew, they were like, The Walking Dead is the hot show. So I was like, okay, I gotta check this out. So, and that's how I got into The Walking Dead. Like, I always find those stories interesting. But yeah, The Walking Dead, that's like the closest thing I get to horror at this point. That's like, I'm like, again, I'm not into horror. I don't watch like Jason. I don't watch Chucky. I don't watch any of those like Amityville stuff. I don't watch anything. I'm not gonna watch Us or like A Quiet Place. Like I'm just not into that kind of stuff. I will go see Zombieland. Still haven't seen that movie yet. Really want to see it. I've heard some really good stuff about it. Um, but yeah, zombies are probably the closest I get to horror. Other than that, I don't do much in regards to horror stuff. What do you got, David? Uh, seasons 3, 4, and 5 are the masterpiece. Yeah, 4 and 5 are good. I gotta disagree though on season 3. I did not like season 3 that much. I feel like the overall story was a mess, kind of. Like Andrea, Glenn Mazzara, I feel like screwed up Andrea so much. Like he screwed Andrea up like a whole lot. So that's one thing. Um, yeah, I did not like what he did with Andrea at all. And then my second biggest issues I have with him is how he handled the prisoners. Now, in the comics, they were kind of like secondary characters or like, didn't have like big roles, but I feel like they could have expanded a lot on the prisoners. And I feel like no one probably could name all five of them if I challenge you to that. Like, can you give me all five prisoners' names? What do you got? No, the governor was perfectly cast. I think the governor was perfectly cast. I will agree there. The governor was perfectly cast. What's his name? David Morrissey did a great job as the prisoner. My only like real nitpick at the governor was he felt a little bit toned down from comic, but I don't totally get mad at that because like there's only a certain amount of things like you can put into a TV show before it gets censored to death. What do you got there? No, I can't. See, David, that's exactly my point. You can't name any of the prisoners. That's like the biggest fail. Like even like I feel like even some of the lower level Alexandrians, you can at least think and name some of them. Whereas like the prisoners, like at this point, no one remembers who they are. But where was I going before I got into that? No, the governor was perfectly cast again, a little bit toned down, but mainly because there's so much you can show on TV. I'm glad they didn't go with him cutting off Rick's hand because I feel like TV wise, that would have been bad. Like, think about this in the comics. Rick only has one hand for like, from that point on, and then he gets that like mechanical hand after the time jump. Think of this realistically. In the TV show, if Rick Grimes didn't have a hand, how is he doing things? Think about it. He only has one hand. How is he reloading a gun? How is he like, like how is he getting dressed? Like, how is he going like to the bathroom or whatever? Like, I know these might be nitpicks, but think of this. Like, you only have one hand. How are you actually doing these things? Like, realistically, it makes zero sense. But maybe that's just me nitpicking, because that makes zero sense to me at least. When you think about it on like a higher level scale, like how is Rick doing these things realistically? Like with one hand, you can't really reload a gun. Like it just the logistics in a realistic world don't make too much sense. But what was that? Going back to the prisoners. Would be hard. Yeah. So going back to the prisoners, I actually was looking them up a couple days ago because I was trying to think of, I was maybe going to do a video regarding them, but I actually can name them offhand. There's Axel, Oscar, Thomas, Andrew, and Big Tiny. I think that's all their names. Um, and one of the issues I had is one, Axel and Oscar were killed way too quickly and wasted characters. Then you got Thomas, who, if you read the comics, Thomas was a serial killer who like beheaded two of Herschel's kids and was like tried to kill Andrea. Now, like some of those things you couldn't adapt to the TV. Like I doubt. Like first off, Herschel didn't have too many kids in the TV show, so you couldn't like decapitate too many people like Beth. But killing off Beth probably would have been this big shocking moment. It probably would have been okay. So they couldn't have done that. So, but they should have at least done something with him, except for other than killing him off within 2 episodes. That was ridiculous. Big Tiny, like he had maybe 2 lines of dialogue. He was in 1 episode, and then ended up being killed off, just because like he got scratched and they thought he would turn. Like that was so dumb. I'm sorry. That was extremely stupid. I feel like Oscar, Andrew, and what was it? Axel were at least somewhat done better. Like Andrew, while he didn't survive that long, he did serve a purpose overall in letting Rick trust Axel and Oscar. So he did somewhat serve a purpose because without him and him trying to go come back after Rick tried to kill him and him coming back and trying to retake the prison, it made it so Oscar and Alex had to prove their worth to Rick and Rick trust them. So that at least made sense. So I give them credit for that. But Axel and Oscar, that was stupid. That was stupid killing them off when they did. Oscar was killed when they went to Woodbury, and it was dumb. Axel got his head blown off by the governor. In I think what was it? Home or something like that. I forget the name of the episode. What do you got? What do we got here? Agreed. But what was I going on? Axel and Oscar, yeah, they were killed off way too early. Now, did I mention this in my season's rank video? I don't know. I can't remember, but because I had to edit out a whole bunch of stuff in that video. But I think I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I feel like Axel and Oscar should have lasted till the mid-season finale of season 4. And I'm gonna say Merle should have done the same. I'll get to Merle in a second, but I think Axel and Oscar should have lasted that long, developed them more, have them form more a bigger relationship with our group. Because when you look at the governor's assault in episode 408, if you look at it, the only person that really died was Herschel. Everyone else was a bunch of red shirts. And my issue regarding that is if you had kept Axel and Oscar around, they could have died there, and you could have added more weight to the prison attack in season 4. While I agree it was a hard blow to our group, overall, no one really died. Like, just Herschel. Everybody else was red shirts that don't really matter. So it's like, what was the purpose? Like, they should have kept those two characters around and had them fight there and end up, like, have one, like, sacrifice their life to save Rick or Daryl, and then have another one going out fighting or something like that. That would have been a great way to have them end. But I feel like Oscar somewhat had a decent death where he was helping Glenn get to safety and got shot because he exposed himself while he was trying to help Glenn. When I say expose himself, I don't mean like in a bad way. I mean he was trying to get Glenn to safety, and they were trying to hide, but he had to help him get out of there, so he had to come up out of his hiding place. Nothing like creepy or whatever, but but I feel like he at least got somewhat of a decent death, whereas Axel just got his head blown off and is like so. And another reason I hate Axel's death is because that episode, they just started making him have a relationship with Carol. Like that could have gone somewhere. Like if they had developed those two, maybe having like a friendship. They didn't have to do like a romantic relationship, but have them like form a friendship, a bond. And then like in the season 4 mid-season finale, have like Axel sacrifice himself so Carol can live. Even though wait, never mind, she had been exiled. Never mind, that probably wouldn't have worked. Never mind, scratch that idea. But something like that. Yeah, he did have a weak death. I do give it a little bit points because he kind of sacrificed himself. That's why I kind of give it points there. It was still a weak death, but he should have. I think he should have gone out in the season 4 mid season finale. That would have worked a lot better. Him and Axel should have survived until then. Again, have one of them go out fighting and have another one go out like protecting Daryl or Rick or Michonne, one of our big characters. Have them go out there. But that's one of the reasons why I don't like season 3. Then Merle, in regards to Merle, I think he's a character that also could have stayed around until the mid-season finale. I understand what they're going for in with his death, like with Daryl and everything, but I feel like he could have lasted a little bit longer. I feel like in some areas they should have kept him around. He was a good likable character, and I feel like Merle could have continued on like this redemption arc a little bit longer. I don't think he should have been the one to kill the governor, but he should have been there during the final fight. I think that much. I'm trying to think of how I would have switched his death around or something. The only thing I could think of, instead of the governor killing him, maybe the governor takes him prisoner or something, and then during in this season 3 mid season finale, somehow like they rest, maybe no, have Merle be left behind at Woodbury as the governor goes to attack, and then like think of it this way: the governor goes to attack at the prison. He leaves Merle behind, and he's gonna say he has this idea where he's gonna like bring a dead Daryl to Merle as like to taunt him or like as payback or something like that. Have that be like the storyline, but instead of that happening, our group, like in the TV show, they win the battle against the governor in the finale, and similar to like what they did in the finale with where they go to Woodbury and find Therese and Andrea dying, they should have also found Merle, and that's how Merle enters the fold into season 4. Do something like that. I think that would have been It's kind of like off the top of my head, but I think that could have worked. Again, Merle's death was okay, but I think again he would have been another great death to have during the prison attack. Because again, you just have Herschel who dies. Everybody else is red shirts. Like have Herschel die, have the prisoners one go out protecting Rick or one of the big characters, have another one go out fighting, and have like Merle go out protecting Daryl. I think that would have been a better death for for that episode involved. Don't get me wrong, I love that episode. I think it was one of the best episodes, but I think it could have been better if they kept those characters around and did more with them. So that's my little rant there on season 3. Again, I love all seasons of The Walking Dead, but that for me is probably one of the weakest ones. Now going on to Andrea, I said this. Andrea annoyed me all of season 3. And at the end, I'm being honest with you, at the end, I wasn't annoyed that they killed her. I was happy. Like, that's how much she annoyed me. I'm like, thank God. It was kind of like Lori's death. She was so annoying that when she finally died, I'm like, thank God. The same ended up happening for Andrea. She annoyed me so much in season 3. I'm like, thank God. I'm glad they didn't redeem her. She annoyed me so much. Like that, like it was so annoying. Like she so much annoyed me that I was like, "Yay, Andrea died!" And I know I'm probably the minority here, but like that's how much she annoyed me. It was like, "Yay, Andrea's dead." I know that's probably not like how everybody felt, but that's at least how I felt. But yeah, those are probably my three biggest issues with season 3. But overall, it was again an okay to decent season, just probably more on the weaker end. But at least that's just my opinion again. It's not right, it's just an opinion. So, I understand why some might like it, but to me, it was kind of a weaker season. But it's just, everybody has their own seasons they like. Yeah, I know a lot of people hated season 7. Um, I think the issue with season 7 was just overall structure and how they did each episode be in a different community. That's the biggest thing that hurt the season, in my opinion. Overall, the story. If you look at, and I follow another YouTuber called Study the Craft, a great YouTuber. If you want to like analyze the show and understand writing, why the writers did this and why they did that. If you want to understand that, go check out his channel. He's a great guy. He actually did a live stream earlier today. Great guy. Go check out his channel. He has a lot of great videos. But one of the things that Gimple did during season 7 and season 8 is that he followed Michael Hughes' six act plot structure, which is probably like the best thing that you could do in writing a story. And the biggest issue however, the biggest issue when following that plot structure is you can't do anything without your leader doing something. So, like, and also you can't jump from like, Negan bashing their heads in to 2 episodes later, you got Rick declaring going to war. Yeah, so overall, you're always going to have, even if, like, say Kang was the writer then, you would have still had that time off between the Negan's introduction and Rick wanting to fight back. You would have still had that break, but it might have been different. Because you have to develop these characters. First off, you have to develop these characters and understand where they're coming from, and why they want to fight back. Like, even though we had those moments, you had to, and it was slow. You still had to have those moments because you had to understand what was going on with Maggie and Hilltop. You had to see what's going on with Kingdom. You had to, even though it was the filler and probably one of the worst episodes, Swear served an overall purpose in the series, even though it's a horrible episode. Because that the episode Swear set up the place to go for guns later on in the season. So that was set up overall. That was just a setup episode. Plus, it kind of offered somewhat development for Tara, even though people hated her. But that episode did serve a purpose. What'd you say, David? I was mad people. What was it? I was mad at people. Mad at Gimple. Wait. People got mad. Gwen deaf. Shocked. Oh, you were mad at people about Gwen who were mad about Gwen's death. Yeah, I understand that. Gwen had it. I feel like TV viewers weren't expecting Gwen to die. I expected him to die. Another reason why Gwen died, looking back, is his story arc came to an end. Like, first off, let me explain like kind of what a story arc is, because I don't really know writing. I'm just getting off what Study the Craft taught me, which isn't going to writing school. But a story, you have 2 types of characters in The Walking Dead or in any show: dynamic characters and static characters. Now, dynamic characters are characters that are they're characters that start off in one area but end in a totally different area. So technically, a dynamic character is a character that changes over time, whereas a static character or a plot device character are characters that don't change over time and are just there to push story. So Glenn was a dynamic character. He started out as an innocent, 20-something guy, just, looking to help out. He never killed a person, ever. And if you look back, the first time he ever killed someone was during the satellite attack earlier that season. So he finished out his character arc right there. He went from being the innocent guy who would never kill anybody to the guy who killed people in self, even though it was self defense, he still killed them nonetheless. So he did change over time. He went from being this guy who would never kill anybody to the guy who killed these saviors in their sleep, pretty much. So once he did that, his story arc came to an end. So he died a few episodes later. That pretty much explains somewhat of why Glenn died. Um, but looking back on the lineup scene, the deaths that they picked were perfect for what they're going for. And I know a lot of people wanted Abraham to live, but Abraham was gonna die, no matter what. If you look back at what they did regarding the deaths, yet they killed Glenn, who was the heart of the group. So thinking of it from Negan, from what they did, going into the Negan era. Hold on a minute. I'll continue this thing right after I read your comment, David. I was running at the top of my lungs, enjoying getting with the bat. Abraham was going to die. Yeah, Abraham was going to die. All right, we're going to end this here, David, all right? Bye.